Yo, press record. What's up? You're listening to Zero to X. My name is Daniel, and today with me, as always.
Hey guys, it's Amara.
What's up? What's up, man? How you doing?
Doing very well, bro.
Really interesting week, no?
Yeah, bro. It was an interesting week.
Really interesting week.
It was an interesting
We
week.
go again. We go again. We go again.
Yeah, so Daniel was telling me just yesterday, we need to be showing off heavy. I was like, yeah. That's the energy.
You guys
That's
don't
the
even
energy.
want to know the time that we're recording this, but like we move. We have a really interesting topic to share our thoughts on today.
Yeah.
And just so you know, the last three episodes have been community generated topics, right? Things
And
that
that's so
people have
wonderful.
said they want to hear our thoughts on. First off, you guys are too kind, thinking that Amara and I are in any way smart enough to share thoughts
Thank you,
that
guys.
you guys would probably consider in forming an opinion or making a decision.
Yeah.
I want to say thank you for that trust and for making us a part of your day. We really do not take it for granted. We mean these things when we say these things, right? Because it's a journey that we have been blessed to have you guys on at the stage that you guys have come on, and the love and support has been surreal. Thank you guys so much. We are zero to X in writing your phone, showing you guys that it can be done,
Yes, it can.
that it should be done if that's what you want. And it might be tough, but you'll get it.
Yeah.
You'll get it. You get it.
Yeah.
So absolutely feel free to connect with us on Instagram at the Zero to X podcast. Engage our content, share to your friends, loved one, and enemies that you want to become your friends. Who knows? Listening to Zero to X might make them say, "Okay, this guy's a pretty cool dude or a pretty cool girl. I don't really need to."
Yeah.
Pretty much. So Amara said he was going to shock me with questions today.
Before I even get there, I was just when you were talking just now with regards to thanking everybody. I just remember something that popped up in my head during the week.
Okay.
I was going to share with you before the podcast, but I forgot. So
Alas, the man doesn't care about me anymore, but we move.
anyway, so guys, I was thinking that with regards to showing a small display of appreciation for your constant, what's the word now? Your journey with us.
Yeah.
You can take a screenshot of one of your favorite Zero to X episodes and just mention myself, Daniel.
That would be pretty cool.
If you don't mention me, I can't share it to my own story.
That would be pretty
But just
cool.
to say thank you to you,
That would be pretty
it
cool.
will be, yeah.
I think it's a pretty solid idea. I think we should
Yeah.
work on it this week. I think so.
Yeah.
Pretty solid idea. Thank you guys so much.
Thank
It,
you guys.
it means
Really,
a lot
really,
to us.
really.
Like these are literally
You guys are the ones
zero.
making it possible
Absolutely.
for this Zero to X podcast to be what it is.
And to become what we know it's going to
going
be.
to be,
We have
exactly.
some really exciting thoughts
Anyway,
about what this could be. And
let me shock you with the questions now.
first of all, what are we talking about before we get to the questions?
Do I know the overall topic? It's with regards to dealing with relationships, but we're taking an interesting direction with this. It's going to be really around navigating relationships with your immediate loved ones as you build,
Yeah.
and navigating relationships with especially if you are in a kind of volunteer organization setting where you are you're not getting paid, so it's purely
That's interesting.
exactly. So
There are lots of dynamics to think about or consider here, but we'll do our very best.
yeah, we will. Let's go. First one. How do you set clear boundaries as an employed individual living in your parents' house with respect to finances, chores, and expectations? Then differentiate between rudeness and assertiveness.
Okay. First question, be responsible. I think it starts with that, be responsible. You kind of have to look at the history you have with your folks, right?
Yes.
Do they think you are just someone they have to deal with?
Bro,
Can they trust your judgment in certain things?
Yeah.
Yeah. And the people, and you shouldn't think that the world centers around you. You shouldn't think that the work that you're doing is more important than anybody, because in reality, you should just think that nobody really gives two shits. right?
True.
You are blessed and privileged enough to live in this beautiful world that God has created and contribute your part meaningfully to the grand scheme of things. I think that there is that humility that should and perspective that should come with what it is that you are trying to do. So you do not develop a God complex or a main character syndrome. This is what happens with a lot of people in their homes.
That's where it becomes tricky.
And this is where it becomes tricky.
Yeah.
Obviously, like Amara and I used to say when we first started this podcast, everything is nuanced. There is context and circumstance, right? You might even be the sweetest, most loving person. And it might just be that you have it a little more difficult, right? With the folks that you have to interact with, friends, families, whatever. But the first thing in the context of family specifically, because remote work has gotten a lot more popular, especially since COVID. So there is significant amount of people that are working from home now. And this is really, I think it's fairly timely because a lot of people have gone through this. A lot more people will go through this, right? So I think the first part is there are different parts to this. I think I've said two main things. I won't be responsible, and I'm going to explain what I mean by that in a bit. But then the second thing is that there should be a humble perspective you adopt towards what you're doing so that you don't take on a God complex or a main character syndrome. Like people around you are not accessories to your stories, man. They have the lives that they are building, however it is. So you need to have that mindset in the first place. In terms of being responsible, you need to be empathetic and reasonable in how you communicate expectations. So for instance, what I mean is this: you are whatever born that you are, whether first, the second, the third, or whatever. Last born, whatever it is. There are expectations that might be had of you in your family, right? It might be providing. It might be contributing to finances. It might be chores. I know folks that work in Big Four that still have to prepare bowls of soup for their families for the week, right? Whatever that thing, it might be just even time that they want you to spend with them, right? I think what works, again, you need to I suggest that you approach this with humility and a perspective that just says, I'm here to contribute with the gifts that God has given me to bless humanity. So you don't develop a main character syndrome. It is important that people don't feel like you are just an accessory to their lives. It's very important that people don't feel that way. So even if you know you want to change the world, which if you're a listener of 0 to X, it should be somewhere in your mind. It should have been revolving around your head. Even if you want to change the world, these are the people that you love. Right? These are the people that will be there when exactly. You often hear people say that they have never seen anybody that on their deathbed wished for more money or more career success. It was always thoughts around the people that they loved. So you need to you need to treat your people well. Treat them right. Let them know that they matter. Let them not just know, let them feel that they matter. There is a way the feeling is more important than the knowing. There is a way you can communicate, even if you're the busiest person. There is a way and manner in which you can communicate certain things. This person just knows that, I understand what this person is going through, and when he's going to be there,
in your communication.
Exactly. A lot of patience, a lot of kindness,
a lot of
thinking, win-win, very correct.
A lot of thinking, win-win.
A lot of thoughtfulness, just empathy and true love. And this won't be possible if you have a God complex or a main character syndrome. It will not be possible. So it is for you to get off your high horse. Right? Know that these are people you love and that love you. There might be interesting dynamics to it or with it, right? And we won't have all the time in the world in this particular episode to get into it, right? But let's imagine that this is a common baseline for everybody. You need to be able to communicate with kindness, thoughtfulness, and empathy what your standards are. So it could go something like this: Mom, between the hours of 9 and 5, I'm going to be working. You can maybe, if you need me to do something, because our parents are beautiful, like they see us around, they have us around, they just want to continue on with that camaraderie, right? But then you have things to build, you have things to do, you have deliverables and higher ups to answer to, even if it's just yourself, right? And I really respect one-man shows, businesses, entrepreneurs, people like in Amara's profession that only have themselves to hold themselves accountable to. I think it's tougher because nobody is going to say like there are no penalties if you don't show up, so to speak. So like big ups to everybody running a one man show. Entrepreneurs out there, man. You guys we are all in the same group chat in some way.
Well, we are.
Yeah, so like we're doing the most, like, and the work will show, it will pay. So communicating expectations might be something like, Mom, I'm going to be doing this thing between 9 and 5.
Yeah.
You can maybe talk to me about something by 1 p.m.
Exactly.
or a particular time slot. But beyond that, I'm going to be this thing. And again, it depends. It depends on your history with them,
bro. And you have to keep your word.
And like
that's what makes the history
honestly
reliable. That's what makes them.
And even if you don't have great history with them, you can build it. People are malleable and they're very perceptive. Even if they have known you as the disgruntled person who wasted their money, sending you to school, being a nuisance, but you're about to do something good with your life. Even if they don't believe and they smirk,
it will take a while though.
It will take a while, but I mean,
it's the patience we're talking about.
It's the patience we're talking about, and there are consequences to actions.
Exactly.
You didn't give them enough of this thing to trust you, so you kind of have to
expect it immediately.
Exactly, you kind of have to build that trust, so to speak. So that's pretty much it. Communicate your standards and expectations with love, empathy, and kindness, but firmness.
Yes,
like this can change. So for me, I think I told Amara this, that when I pretty much started to more intentionally work on my career and goals and whatnot, like some 2-3 years ago, I told Amara that, guy, I'm just using my life to do message and errand for everybody else but myself.
Yeah, I remember that.
It was literally Monday something for home, Tuesday something for church, Wednesday something for something else.
Yeah.
And I was like, Daniel, how are you making money and taking care of your family? Like for real, because it's your responsibility.
Yeah.
And I realized that I wasn't prioritizing the things that would make the other things work.
Yeah.
So literally what I did, we were all together at home. I think everybody was in or around the parlor or the dining room or something. I just made a gigantic announcement. Hey guys, so I'm going to be focusing more on work, and for context, I probably have good history with my family for context. So it's like, hey guys, I'm going to be focusing more actively with my work, right? But I'm still available to help everybody around with things, although it might not be as quickly as you want, it might not be as immediately as you want. So what I need you guys to do is this: if there's something you need me to do that would probably take a whole day, I'm going to need a week's notice. So that I can slot it in and plan for that day.
Yeah.
And I know that you have me for that day or for those couple of hours.
Yeah.
Because if it's an errand, it probably involves transit time. So it's that day.
Yeah.
So I can prepare mentally.
Yeah.
But not with the context of the situation of you telling me something today that needs to be done tomorrow.
I know.
It would not work.
Yeah.
Because I would need time to plan and factor that in.
Yeah.
I said that once. I said it like over
a number of times
to make it sit. And soon it was like, people said, my mom, my siblings say, Daniel, I need you to do this thing for me. I was like, okay, we can do it next week Friday. Okay, we can do it next week Thursday.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden that became easier.
Yeah.
Same thing around chores. There is not a lot and then different families have their nuances and idiosyncrasies.
Yeah.
In my family, it's a rites of passage thing. You pay your dues at a particular age and pass it on to so on. So like, but there are interesting thoughts around it. I imagine that for because of the context and the culture where we live in, so for working class females that still live with their families, like there are extra demands that might be placed on them, to cook or make the house or at least be responsible for that. You might have to supervise your siblings or someone else to do it, but like there might be that demand placed on you to do it. Not saying guys can't do it. I do it, right? To be fair, I do it. But the context and culturally, a lot of our women are expected to be responsible for that more visibly, so to speak.
Yeah.
So that might be interesting to navigate, right? Because imagine you being a product manager, right? Or a consultant or a product designer or whatever it is, any of the fun things that you're trying to do with your life.
Yeah.
And you still have to fry plantain or go to the market or this thing. So
yeah.
there has to be a system. There has to be a system, an agreement that says this is how this must be done.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And then that is done. And I find out that, see, when you become a person that you do what you say, especially in regards as this context,
yes,
they know that, okay, please just leave him more. He's inside meeting. Leave out Jesus. She said this time around. It's like, and again, this is heavily nuanced, right?
It is.
I know that there might be situations where it's a lot less direct, where it's more tricky, because of the interesting characters that
you're dealing
with in our lives. Yes. But for the most part, I think this is a good enough starting point.
It is.
I think it's a good enough starting point.
Yeah. Okay. That was beautifully done. You pretty much touched on the topics and the points I wanted to cover as well, but you did them with a more rounded approach. Second, I think
the rudeness and the assertiveness.
Rudeness and assertiveness. I was just about to say that.
I think whoever will be offended, and there's not a lot you can do about it.
I have thoughts.
I will get to what I'm saying.
Okay.
It's based on the context we have established.
Okay.
It comes across as I would say you would be being rude, right? When you have a God complex. That's why I touched about that in the first place.
Okay.
If there is a God complex or a main character, something like, don't disturb me, I'm going to be doing this, blah, 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 blah. There is no regard for the other people.
Yeah.
That will be rudeness.
Yeah.
But when you come from a place of love and thoughtfulness and understanding, but firmness, right? That is you being assertive. Let's say you've given standards. It starts with you. There is the you part of it, and there is the them part of it.
Okay.
On the you part, that's why I started with that. You need to make sure that those complexes don't exist. The main character syndrome or the God complex or whatever,
like you said, let them feel whatever
neo-narcissistic traits there are. Let them feel like they are cared about. Let them feel. That's what's important. Let them feel like they are cared about beyond knowing.
Yeah.
That they are considered in your plans and whatnot, blah, blah, blah. So if we have sorted that out, like I said, there are the people that will be difficult to deal with.
There are.
Mommy, no, I'm sorry, I'm busy. Whoever will be offended, especially if it has been pre-communicated and you've said it a couple of times. Again, you are saying this with love, understanding, and regard for their time.
Yes.
And for their person. You're not trying to make them feel, oh, because you're working, what am I doing with my life? You're not trying to make them feel that way. Like I said, there are some people that will just really think that way, and there is nothing you can do to help them. Like whoever will be offended, that's what I meant by whoever will be offended. But if they're your loved ones meaning that they love you and they care about you, some things might be tricky to understand. Yeah. So for instance, now my family, one of the most difficult things I had to deal with was not being able to join them for prayers in the night. It was one of our best bonding times.
Oh.
Right?
Yeah.
And the reason for that was
you were still in transit.
I was in transit
or
I was in a meeting, and maybe because of time zone, it's 8 p.m., 9 p.m. in Nigeria. It's like 3 p.m. in LA
US.
or New York or something, like depending on what city. I couldn't help that.
Yeah.
I'm like, I can't join tonight, guys. And there was just that on that. Again, good history.
Yeah.
Right. Or a fairly decent history. There had to be that. And then how you communicate. So, for instance, I'm in a meeting. They know once you hear me talking, please don't ask me for anything at that point in time. Right? Because of how I'm processing thoughts. And then if I feel this hasn't happened, I don't think this has happened. But if you ever feel like you spoke too strongly, maybe somebody genuinely flouted one of the expectations or standards you had laid down. And in that moment, maybe you spoke too strongly. You can go and apologize to the person afterwards.
Yeah. Like again, it's on you. And you're building history.
Yeah, and you are building history. Yeah. Like, not because you are wrong.
Not because you are wrong.
But because you want to show that person matters, and you value that relationship enough to say, no.
Yes.
You're not apologizing because you are wrong.
Yeah.
You're apologizing because
of the tone.
The tone. It shows them that the point is, let your loved ones, the people around you, feel like they are valued.
Yes. I think the rest will sort itself out.
The rest will sort itself out.
Yeah.
So like I said, there will be cases where people will misinterpret and be offended. That's why I said that based on the context I had given earlier.
Yeah.
Whoever will be offended, will be offended. It might take them some time to come around or for you to win them over.
Yeah.
But if you know you are doing things the most sincere way that you can, the kindest that you can, the most empathetic way that you can, I think to a large extent you'll be fine, or you'll be fine eventually.
I think in addition to this, what I would just say is, because like you said, we would all be navigating different kinds of characters in our lives.
Yeah.
It's important to recognize where that person is and pace the person with your assertiveness.
Good point. Very good point.
Because there is a way in which you haven't. The person is coming to see a different side of
exactly.
you. Exactly, trying to become assertive.
Exactly.
So you don't just wake up one day and become assertive.
Yeah, you need to pace people.
You pace the person, and pacing the person would mean that you've clearly stated what these boundaries are going to look like going forward. Yeah. Today, the person asked for so and so and so, right? And you're probably going to be like, I already stated this. Do you get, like, can we work out something?
Exactly.
Do you get?
That's the point. You should just make them feel valued.
Yeah.
Please go on.
Yeah. It needs to feel like they are considered.
Yeah.
And that you're working out. The problem is people don't work out win-win situations.
100%.
If you're not careful, you're most likely thinking about yourself
and
time,
not them,
and all of that.
I think this is a very, very fundamental thought to have top of mind.
Yeah.
Not even at the back of your mind, top of mind.
Yeah.
In this kind of things, you need to think win-win.
You have
what is the most ideal situation for me and you to feel like this was a fulfilling arrangement.
Example, now my mom will be like, oh, Amara, I want you to help me look at this Google document.
Yeah.
This Google Doc. I'm like, I can't do it right now, but like I'll be free by 3 p.m. Let's work out something. Do you get? And then she's like, okay, cool, we'll do it by 3.
Yeah.
Because she understands, do you get? But there are times in the past where it wasn't easy for her to understand that, oh yeah, I can't do it on your time.
Yeah.
Do you get? You have to factor my time in as well. Do you get? So it's pacing the person.
Yeah.
You have to deploy patience. You really have to deploy patience. Yeah. But I think if you do all of that, like you said, you'll be fine. And the person that will see, there's an extent you will get to where you know that if somebody else was to look at the situation outwardly, they can see how you deployed empathy, deployed patience, and then the person on the other end still decided to feel insulted or offended, and that's fine. You can't.
And that's fine. There's nothing you can do about that. That's why I said
you still have to pace the person.
And I think this is really excellent training in emotional intelligence.
It is, yeah.
It is excellent training. You would scarcely find better situations to grow your emotional intelligence than having to deal with people in the context where they might not be used to how you are at work.
Yeah. That was a beautiful answer, bro. How do you? I think this is similar. But how do you set boundaries or communicate boundaries as a volunteer? Let's say, e.g., in a religious organization. I don't know about. My problem with the word boundaries is it is the way people use it is not the way. I don't actively think about boundaries.
Okay.
Do you get? So that's where I might be different from other people. Because I'm not actively thinking, oh yeah, where do I draw the line in my dealings with set people in set settings? Do you get? For me, it's just this is how things ought to work. I don't know if that's what the person means by boundaries. Do you get? So
yeah, it's a pretty open-ended question, and I guess it might be useful depending on how much time we have. It might be useful. It might be useful to go at it from as many useful standpoints. Working in volunteer organizations are a beautiful thing, can be a beautiful thing.
I think so too.
It is one of the easiest routes to real life character development.
It is, bro. That's literally what transformed my life.
I've said it you have with Isaac and a bunch of them.
Yeah.
Same thing for me, pastoring in school. Yeah, like it's character development. Bro. It's you developing competence and a reputation that this is the kind of person that you are in a large
with people that have no reason to follow
you. Leadership is best in volunteer organizations. I would respect the person that can galvanize 1,000 people to do an outreach.
Yes.
Right?
No incentives
than the CEO that can marshal this thing and build.
Fire you if you refuse.
Exactly. Yeah. Why? Because there's no incentive beyond the person's willingness. That's real leadership.
Yeah.
Right? Not trying to marginalize or bring down what those other people are doing because there is a level of leadership that you get to there.
Yes.
Right?
To also make things work.
Because the same quality of leadership you experience or you can deliver or show or grow in a volunteer setting, when applied in the corporate setting, it amplifies.
Yes,
and that turns to magic.
Yes, because now you have more tools.
Exactly.
But yes.
We will talk about leadership soon. I think it's a topic I can talk on and on and on about. I've been reading and practicing it for a couple of years now. So I have some thoughts, lessons, and a lot of mistakes to share that would probably be useful to us. But then I probably the way to look at the boundaries question might be in terms of what is demanded of you and your ability to deliver it. Like, okay, are you able to disturb me on a Wednesday for something that I should have done when I'm supposed to be working? You know I work. Right. That might be a way to look at it.
Okay. That's a very interesting
That might be a way to look at it.
Yeah.
And fact of the matter is there is something that Amara and I have shared on this podcast a couple of times. You don't prioritize your schedule. You schedule your priorities.
Yeah.
So you need to.
That's where the problem is.
That's where the issue typically is, right? That is where there is typically room for improvement for most people.
And that's why people will cross boundaries.
Contexts, and that's why people will cross boundaries. So the thing is that you need to. And in this case, like Amara and I think I've said this before. We've said this before on this podcast. In whatever work setting that you are in, if you find that people are asking you questions about stuff, right, that you were supposed to be working on, it's possible that you could do a better job communicating.
Yes.
So that's why we subscribe to over-communicate like crazy.
Yeah.
Give an update once or twice a day about something it is that you're working on.
So even when there is no
update to give, you can just say, "Oh, this is being worked on.
This is you hear from us 3 hours from now."
Yeah, or we're still on track with this. Blah 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 blah. Like those simple things. It doesn't take you 5 minutes.
Because people feel weird when there's no update to give and they don't give up. I'm like, bro, like I need to know that we are still on the same page with this.
So like there might be that. So like a very simple hack is just in terms of managing the tension and the anxiety you might feel from, oh, this person can come and ask me this kind of question anytime. And I might not be in the best mood at work because of work. I might not be in the best mood. So a simple thing to do is just to give 1 or 2 updates on a particular thing or things are expected of you every day. It won't take you 5 minutes to
solve the issue.
This will really, really help.
Yes.
I have seen it work because I have practiced it myself.
Yeah.
I need to do a lot of that personally more. Yeah. Both with work and with my volunteer work, right?
Yeah.
But I have seen
this. But I've seen how you've developed it as well.
I've seen this, I've practiced this, and it has really helped. And that's one part of it. Another fundamental part of this is for you to have an understanding of what the price is, the cost of serving in this volunteer organization. You don't want to serve in a volunteer organization and feel like you're doing them a favor.
Exactly.
You don't want to do that. Otherwise, just don't do it.
Exactly.
Because you saying you're working in a volunteer organization means I am working at this the way I'm working at a paid job. That is the expectation
part of
the understanding.
The grand goal in this organization.
Exactly.
Yeah.
That is the expectation or understanding. Yeah. And for most part, the fact that it is a volunteer organization doesn't make it any less structured.
Yes.
Or important than a corporate organization. Doesn't make it any less structured. Yeah. So you need to personally, and this is something I am learning, understand exactly what it costs. The time, energy, mental space, right? That it will take for you to deliver on the things that you are accountable for, that you are responsible for.
Yes.
You need to understand that. You know really what that is, and never ever feel like you're doing them a favor, them having you on the team. Like it's important. Everything we've been talking about in dealing with people, there has to be a sense of humility and understanding. Because you are not better.
It's that God complex.
That main character syndrome, especially if you're pretty smart, you're pretty talented. You need to stay level-headed. It's really important when you're like dealing with people. So understanding that this is what this is going to cost me, like really count the cost. People don't do this. I am a victim of not doing it. Right? Counting the cost of what does this truly mean?
Yes, on a day-to-day,
on a weekly basis. That I have to think about this much.
Yeah.
I have to actively work on this much. You need to know what that is.
So that when you've done that, you know
exactly.
that there's no reason for people to be crossing boundaries.
Exactly. Once you've settled that and you looked at every other area of your life and you're like, okay, I'm going to do this.
Yeah.
Whatever you see, take.
Yeah, exactly.
Whenever you're not able to deliver, people, maybe your higher ups in that organization are talking about it. Take it. Never feel like you're doing them a favor. You volunteered. You said, I want to.
Exactly.
Even if they came to compel or recruit you or whatever, if you didn't want to do, you will not do.
Yeah.
Nobody will lose their heads in the long run, right?
Yeah.
So you need to really count the cost of this is what it is, and then communicate this If you need it lesser, have a conversation with somebody in the organization that this and this and this is what I can really give at this point in time.
Like, you guys need to be able to work around.
Yeah, you need to be like, this is what I can give.
Let's be clear.
This is really what I can give.
Yeah.
If this doesn't work, like I said, think win-win. A win-win for you might be not working there and them not having to deal with someone who doesn't have the mental space to deliver on the task that they need.
Exactly.
That might be a win-win situation, right?
Yes.
So, but if you're going to really count the costs, really, you need to really know the demands, agree to it with whoever or as many people as you are accountable to or are codependent on for deliverables, right? And then just work at it. The dynamics will be interesting on a day-to-day.
Yes,
right?
It will.
But I guess this is where whatever compelled you to join that volunteer group in this first place would come in.
Will be strong enough to keep you going.
Will be strong enough to keep you going. Exactly. And then typically, like I said, it's practice in emotional intelligence. You get more skilled in navigating these kinds of situations. Yeah. So I think that's a fair enough starting point.
Bro, it is. You've done a fantastic job, but we've run out of time.
Guys, we only answered 2 out of how many questions?
2 out of 4, bro.
2 out of 4.
So there will have to be a part 2.
There will be a part 2. But thank you guys for listening.
Thank you guys. I actually did learn stuff from what you said as well. I think the beauty about the way you approach some of these answers is the ability to keep them very structured and very helpful.
A lot of Jordan Peterson and Andrew Tate, funny enough.
A lot of McKinsey as well.
A lot of McKinsey, bro. A lot of McKinsey.
Anyway, thank you guys so much for your time.
Guys
we hope this was as valuable to you as it was to me.
We really hope so. I learned a lot from listening to myself talk. Man.
Yeah. It helps you put those thoughts together.
It helps you put those thoughts together and structure them in a way that is actionable and will produce results. So we hope you guys find a little more success or a lot more success in your life in navigating the situations that we talked about. Thank you for making 0 to X a part of your day. Please share with as many people as you know can benefit from this. I know that there are a lot of people that can benefit from this. So please share with them. And thank you guys again.
We will see you.
And we'll see you in the next one.
The next one.
Cheers, guys.